AI agent frameworks and autonomy. The question of how much rope to give an AI agent continues to vex enterprises as autonomous systems inch toward production deployments. A recent paper circulating on LinkedIn has sparked discussion by articulating a framework for AI agent autonomy levels, ranging from user as operator, full human control, through human in the loop, to user as observer, full autonomy. The framework's utility lies in decoupling autonomy from capability. A highly capable agent can, and often should, be deliberately constrained to collaborator or consultant levels in high-risk domains like application security and governance, risk, and compliance, GRC. As one commenter noted, human in the loop isn't fear, it's discipline. The cascading failure risk at full observer-level autonomy remains unacceptable for production environments, and this taxonomy gives CISOs a vocabulary for setting policy boundaries. While enterprises debate governance frameworks, researchers at Beijing University of Technology and collaborators have released ManiAgent, an agentic architecture for robotic manipulation that achieves 86.8% success on the simpler ENV benchmark, dramatically outperforming COGAC's 51.3%. The system addresses a fundamental limitation of vision-language action (VLA) models. Fine-tuning on robotic data often erodes the underlying LLM's high-level reasoning capabilities. ManiAgent sidesteps this by remaining training-free, coordinating three specialized agents, perception, reasoning, and action execution, in a pipeline that preserves the original model's understanding while enabling complex multi-step tasks. On real-world pick-and-place operations, it hits 95.8% success, and when paired with a strong VLM, achieves 100% on tasks requiring contextual reasoning, like placing cutlery according to table etiquette. IBM Research has taken a different approach with Kuga, Configurable Universal General Agent, now available on Hugging Face. Kuga is an orchestration-first framework that achieved state-of-the-art on the Toolbench benchmark, 750 real-world tasks across 457 APIs, and top-tier performance on Web Arena. Its design philosophy emphasizes flexibility over raw capability. Developers can balance performance against cost and latency with configurable modes ranging from fast heuristics to deep planning. The framework supports tool integration via OpenAPI specs, MCP, Model Context Protocol servers, and LangChain, and includes a low-code visual builder for designing agent workflows. Perhaps most interestingly, Kuga can be exposed as a tool to other agents, enabling nested reasoning architectures, a pattern likely to become increasingly common as multi-agent systems mature. Open-weight model releases and performance. The open-weight model landscape continues its relentless expansion. OLMO 3.1 has arrived in two 32B variants, Think and Instruct, extending AI2's commitment to fully open research. While benchmark details remain sparse in initial announcements, the Think variant targets reasoning tasks specifically, continuing the trend of reasoning models that allocate additional compute at inference time. The Instruct variant presumably follows the more conventional fine-tuning approach for instruction following. ByteDance has released Dolphin v2, a significant upgrade to their document parsing model built on the Qwen 2.5 VL3B backbone. The model handles both digital-born and photographed documents through a document-type-aware two-stage architecture. Stage 1 performs joint classification and layout analysis, generating element sequences in reading order across 21 supported categories, up from 14 in the original. Stage 2 employs a hybrid parsing strategy, holistic page-level parsing for photographed documents to handle real-world distortions, and efficient element-wise parallel parsing for digital documents with type-specific prompts. The practical implications are substantial. Dolphin v2 achieves an overall score of 89.45 on OmniDoc Bench, a 14.78-point improvement, with specialized modules for LaTeX formula generation, code blocks with indentation preservation, and HTML table representation. Jipu AI's AutoGLM Phone 9B multilingual brings autonomous phone agents to the open-weight ecosystem. Built on the GLM 4.1 v9B thinking architecture, the model understands smartphone screens through multimodal perception and executes automated operations via ADB, Android Debug Bridge. Users describe tasks in natural language, open Xiaohongshu, and search for food recommendations, and the system handles intent parsing, UI understanding, and action execution. The framework includes sensitive action confirmation mechanisms and human-in-the-loop fallback for login or verification scenarios, reflecting the autonomy governance discussions happening at the enterprise level. Code generation model comparisons. Independent benchmark results from the SPE bench team reveal a more nuanced picture of GPT 5.2's capabilities than OpenAI's marketing might suggest. Using Mini SWE Agent, described as essentially the bare-bones version of an agent, across all models for consistency, GPT 5.2 High Reasoning lands at number 3 on the leaderboard behind Gemini models, while GPT 5.2 Medium Reasoning performs behind Sonnet 4.5. The team deliberately reports lower scores than company-reported figures, believing this provides better apple-to-apples comparison that favors models that can generalize well. However, GPT models demonstrate remarkable efficiency. GPT 5.2 Medium uses a median of just 14 steps, GPT 5.2 High 17 steps, making them very hard to beat in terms of cost efficiency for users not requiring maximum performance. The benchmark's placement of Gemini at the top sparked considerable controversy among practitioners who report different real-world experiences. A lawyer whose firm tested models for document analysis concluded they would get ourselves in serious trouble quickly if we incorporated Gemini into our workflow, describing Google as a lot of hype right now. Developers report Gemini can't follow instructions steadily and suffers from hallucination problems after like 100K tokens, even though it has like 1 meter context. The disconnect between benchmark performance and real-world reliability highlights an ongoing problem in AI evaluation. Optimizing for benchmark metrics doesn't guarantee robust production behavior. User reports from the Claude community paint a similarly complex picture. One developer who drank the Kool-Aid on Claude Code reports that GPT 5.1 still feels more confident and less hesitant for quick refactors and debugging edge cases. For research-heavy tasks, Perplexity's Comet provides structured answers plus citations that are easier to trust. Claude Code's strength, repo-level context is genuine, but usage limits and occasional overcaution create friction. The emerging consensus: tool selection should be task-specific, with different models excelling in different contexts. As one commenter put it, use what works for you. There's nothing wrong with using a different tool than another person if it works better for your workflow. Open source AI infrastructure. SurfSense has emerged as an ambitious open-source alternative to Perplexity, NotebookLM, and Glean, positioning itself as a highly customizable AI research agent that connects to personal external sources and search engines. The project supports over 100 LLMs, including local Ollama or VLLM setups, 6,000-plus embedding models, and 50-plus file extensions, including recent Dockling integration. It connects with 15-plus external sources, including CirxNG, Tavily, Slack, Linear, Jira, Confluence, Gmail, Notion, YouTube, GitHub, and Discord. A cross-browser extension enables saving authenticated content, typically where self-hosted solutions fall apart. For the privacy-conscious, deployment is a single Docker command with role-based access control, RBAC for Teams. Planned features include agentic chat, Notion-style note management, and collaborative documents. One enterprise deployment story illustrates the practical considerations driving self-hosting decisions. A company building an internal AI platform for 100 employees, handling HR documents, proposals, engineering designs, SAT documentation, and historical business data, initially used Gina's hosted re-ranker. As the system expanded beyond internal policies to sensitive operational content, the team decided to eliminate third-party dependencies entirely. Their solution: serving BA AI re-ranker v2 M3 via VLLM on local GPU while maintaining the Gina-style v1 re-rank API that OpenWebUI expects. The pattern, keeping RAG and re-ranking fully inside an Azure tenant using GPUs already being paid for, represents a growing trend as enterprises balance capability against data sovereignty requirements. AI security and privacy concerns. A troubling security incident on OpenRouter demonstrates that even basic precautions may not protect against determined attackers. One developer reported over $145 drained from their account despite having 2FA enabled and all API keys deleted. The attack pattern suggests session hijacking. An attacker bypasses 2FA, accesses the dashboard, generates a temporary key, drains credits using premium models like Opus 4.5 and Haiku during overnight hours, then deletes the key to hide their tracks. The community response, largely pointing to potential malware and token grabbing, highlights that browser-based credential theft remains a persistent threat. Standard antivirus scans may not detect session token hijackers, and the recommended remediation includes full OS reinstallation to eliminate persistent malware. The incident also raises questions about platform-side protections. Rate limiting, anomaly detection, and mandatory re-authentication for key generation could mitigate such attacks. For those seeking to understand rather than merely fear AI security threats, a comprehensive training curriculum for GenAI red teaming has been published under open licensing. The resource distinguishes between traditional responsible AI, RAI testing, focused on fairness, bias, and ethics, and red teaming, which encompasses adversarial attacks on embeddings, model architecture vulnerabilities, data privacy, leakage and membership inference, supply chain security, guardrail bypass, and LLM-specific attacks like prompt injection and jailbreaking. The curriculum progresses through sequential modules from foundations through advanced attacks, with Jupyter notebooks providing hands-on exercises. A legal opinion from the University of Cologne, prepared for Germany's Federal Ministry of the Interior and recently made public through Freedom of Information requests, confirms what privacy advocates have long warned. U.S. authorities have far-reaching access to data stored in European data centers. The Stored Communications Act, extended by the Cloud Act, and Section 702 of FISA allow U.S. authorities to compel cloud providers to hand over data regardless of physical storage location. The decisive factor is control by the affected company, not where servers are located. The reach extends to European subsidiaries of U.S. companies and potentially to purely European companies with relevant business connections in the USA. Technical measures like encryption don't necessarily avoid disclosure obligations. U.S. procedural law requires parties to retain procedurally relevant information, and providers who exclude themselves from access through technical measures risk fines or criminal consequences. The implications for MS365, Azure, AWS, and GCP deployments handling sensitive European data are significant. Technical AI research and optimization. A new vector compression engine claims to outperform FAIS product quantization while maintaining higher cosine similarity retention. The project, which has a patent application filed, offers both near-lossless compression for production rack search workloads and extreme compression modes for archival storage. Testing spans 100K to 350K vectors, including OpenAI-style embeddings and Kaggle datasets. The implementation is deliberately NumPy-based for reproducibility, though the patent-pending status means the underlying methodology remains somewhat opaque. The author is actively seeking technical critique, benchmarking flaws, unrealistic assumptions, missing baselines, and scenarios where the approach might fail in production systems. The business of obliterating, removing safety training from open-weight models has hit an unexpected wall with Kimi K2's thinking variant. One practitioner who makes money providing uncensored model variants reports that almost all possible techniques have failed. The model either breaks entirely or retains its restrictions. Speculation centers on Kimi's custom training methods potentially being incompatible with standard obliteration approaches. Interestingly, the non-thinking Kimi K2 variant has been successfully modified, suggesting something specific to the chain-of-thought architecture resists conventional weight surgery. The discussion raises technical questions about whether new code-specific obliteration techniques are required, or whether the model's training data simply lacks the problematic content that obliteration datasets typically target. A paper from Google Research accepted at NeurIPS 2025 introduces nested learning, a framework that reconceptualizes deep learning architectures as nested, multi-level optimization problems. The provocative core claim, well-known optimizers like Atom and SGD with momentum are actually associative memory modules that compress gradients. The framework explains how in-context learning emerges in large models and draws an analogy between current LLMs and anterograde amnesia, the neurological condition where patients cannot form new long-term memories. LLMs suffer similarly. Knowledge is limited to the immediate context window or long past from pre-training, with models experiencing the present as perpetually new. The paper proposes self-modifying titans, a novel sequence model that learns its own update algorithm and introduces HOPE, a memory module generalizing traditional long-term, short-term memory concepts. Grant, accepted as an oral presentation at AAAI 2026, roughly 4.5% acceptance rate, addresses an underexplored problem in embodied AI, teaching agents to execute tasks in parallel. The research proposes Operations Research Knowledge-Based 3D Grounded Task Scheduling, ORS-3D, requiring agents to minimize total completion time by leveraging parallelizable subtasks, cleaning a sink while a microwave operates, for instance. The accompanying ORS-3D 60K dataset comprises 60,000 composite tasks across 4,000 real-world scenes. The Grant model itself is an embodied multimodal large language model with a scheduling token mechanism for generating efficient task schedules alongside grounded actions. In the category of tools developers didn't know they needed, SAG reimagines the macOS Say command with 11 Labs voices. The one-liner TTS utility streams to speakers by default, lists available voices, or saves audio files, functioning as a drop-in replacement for system speech synthesis with modern voice quality. The tool supports voice discovery, speed rate controls, latency tiers, and format inference from output extensions.